and I'm always fascinated to learn from coaches, their journey, right, into coaching. And, just for folks, I mean, obviously I'm pretty familiar with your journey, but what made you want to become a coach?
So I always had a drive to be, I was very afraid. I had a strong fear, a visceral fear from like when I was single digits, pre-kindergarten, to be something. I didn't want to be, I wanted to be memorable in some way, shape, or form. I wanted to impact something. I wanted to be successful. And I think early on in my life, I kind of recognized that the idea to be a professional athlete. I think on my little league team, I was the second best player on the little league team, so I did the math. And in Greeley, Colorado, if I extrapolate that, the percentages are low. So, and I was growing up in Greeley, Colorado, which is like 70 miles northeast of Denver, and the biggest thing going then in the late 80s were the Denver Broncos. So I kind of got my mind on coaching at a very young age, and then once I got into playing high school specifically in college, I felt as though there was a lot of answers to the game of football that I was finding on my own. So I was assessing
Wow. Yeah.
kind of my small scope, and I thought, you know what? Uh, I have a chance to be great in this field because one, if you compete against what you're perceived like, I was yearning for that impact in my life, and I didn't have it. I thought particularly, and it might have been because I wasn't that talented, so the coaches didn't waste their time with me. But I also recognized that what made sense to me was if I was going to be great at something, I would have to be passionate about it. Because I wasn't,
Wow. At
yeah,
a young
because
age,
I
you
could,
knew that?
there was this conflict that I was going through where my mom was building me up to be great, and I kind of got addicted to that. She was like, "You're the best all the time," and that felt good. Um, but then I
Sure.
recognized there was like an inherent, like, I'm not sure if it's laziness or like I I enjoyed not doing things as well. So then you're really ambitious, but then like you kind of like are
Interesting.
cool. TV is awesome. You know,
Yeah.
so then
Sure.
what made sense to me was, yeah, I wasn't gonna just work because I'm a worker. There had to be something
Right.
bigger than that. So
Right,
I
right, right, right.
it just made sense naturally to find my passion.
Ultimately, I'm hearing you say, I mean, obviously the Houston's moment, the drinking issue that you navigated, obviously, unbelievably at some level and abruptly because of your vision and purpose to where you were going. These things made you better as a coach. Tell me more about how they made you a better coach because it feels like it did. I mean, you're showing up
Yeah.
early, you're doing all the
No, I
things that you
think
need to do.
perspective is very important. I think there's a gift underneath everything that again I talk about you perceive, but like something bad happens, and there's also how many times does it take you to look in your past and like be like, wow, in reflection, I thought that was terrible, but it wasn't so bad because of this. That pattern
Right, right.
um, happens happens a ton, um, and at some point in time, for me at least, I was like, well, I should stop being so judgy on things when they happen. Um, and I think that in itself, the idea that failure could be the best thing is about as coaching as you can get. Because
Yeah.
Coaching inherently, um, can be negative. You are correcting someone who wants to do it right. You know, just
Right.
like I wanted to do
Sure.
stuff right,
Sure.
like, but by being able to shift people's mind away from like by by shifting people's mind towards enacting something and using that, I mean, that direct correlation that manifests itself in every coaching
Sure.
point because you're constantly saying, okay, this is what we're going to take, and I'm going to explain to you why it wasn't good enough, but how this is the learning lesson you need to do it good enough. Because that,
Better.
I mean, more often
Right.
than not,
Well,
that's the biggest thing that you're breaking down when you're coaching people is like understanding the inherent, like they want to do well. Everybody wants to do well. Like, you think someone doesn't want to catch a pass? No, I didn't want
right.
to catch it.
Right. Right.
So then it's, and then they've already failed, or you're explaining to them that it wasn't what you want. So really, I think the my life's journey is inherent in coaching in general, and I think it helps me understand people where they're at and what it feels like, empathy. Um, even
Sure.
though I have,
Sure.
go
What
ahead,
do you
sorry.
think? What's your leadership style or your leadership philosophy at some level now?
Um, I think that I think um, leadership starts with you're serving others to get the best out of them. That service um, is monumental in it. Um, I think a lot of people you lose sight of the fact that if you're a boss, your one and only job is to maximize those who are your subordinates. I guess. Um, so I see myself in the service industry for sure. I think and a lot of times people get the misconception that you have to be infallible as a boss. And I would say that's quite the that's it's quite the contrary. I think um, as a leader, people respond to human elements. So and irony's full in our world, but like ironically, some of the strongest things that you can do is make yourself vulnerable. Um,
Yeah.
so my leadership style, it's one to serve people through connection.
To get them, you got to differentiate yourself, no question. What makes you so good? How do you people who aren't watching this can't see your facial expression in that moment. But how have you
Um,
differentiated yourself, right?
I would say,
I mean, beyond the
oh, I know,
strapping build
you
and
know,
do you know what I mean? I mean, beyond all of that.
beyond all the superficialities that gave me such a leg up. Um, I don't think I'm I'm anything but my daily's output. So I differentiate myself because I don't feel entitled that I am the best, or I'm going to be the best today and I'm going to earn it, and if I'm not, I shouldn't have this job. I think I think because
I love
you
it.
get that satisfaction of accomplishment um, when you earn stuff, and realistically,
Right.
like what's been satisfying that wasn't earned. I think a lot of times
Right.
people fall victim to some sort of entitlement. Like, I'm not entitled. I'm not better than. Um, because of yesterday or whatever. Tomorrow I have a team meeting, we have a practice, and I'm going to make certain that I deserve to be their head coach, all the players and the Miami Dolphins organization and the fan base, because tomorrow I will be the best person for the job by my actions that are 100% all in, and immersed with the right intentions and that. So
Sure.
I think there's certain pressures that come with this job, and it's very very seen. And sometimes people, a self-defense mechanism is, oh yeah, I'm different for this, that, or reason. The only way that I will ever be different is because that I understand that I'm not a gift, or I'm not better than, or
Right.
the humility to it
Yeah, that's huge.
allows
No
you to just
question.
be free and earn it every day, which is really what you want.